All right, my friends. So the projects begin. Say hi, George. Oh, you're lively. He looks like a devil dog when he does that. Anyway, just notice that the doors are open. So we're going to get started on some small projects. Like I said, the doors are open as part of the defunkification of the interior. I've got a few things in mind to get rid of the cat smell, the musty, gross smell that came with the car that I was not expecting. But nothing works better than sitting outside on a nice warm day, and it's beautiful, not even 70 degrees today, beautiful cool day. We're getting a lot of air through the car. So that's be the first in the line of small projects. We'll be in there's some wind right now as if on cue. Sorry if there is any wind noise, but yeah, the defunkification's first. We're gonna do the emblems, we're gonna do the pedals, we're gonna do the shifter, and that'll probably be a video. I do have to do the emergency brake and install the battery tender cables from underneath, and that'll probably be the next thing down the line. So yeah, beginning of the small projects. George, say thanks for watching. Awesome. Cool. George. Good boy. Ah, the faithful shop dog. All right, so one of the things I already talked about doing is I had to kind of do the bomb of the interior. What I did was I bought one of those kits. It's a chemical, it's a sponge, and you have a little insert. It's inside the car. I can't show it to you, but it's supposed to absorb all of the odors. I used it in the Mustang. It worked reasonably well. So that's why I have the garbage bags taped over the cockpit area there. There's a car cover it came with that's been washed, double washed, triple washed. Smell of cat pee. Like I said, I think that when he stored the car at his son's barn, that a cat took a residence in it. Unfortunately, must have sprayed. And they just do a tiny little bit, you know, but it's just awful. Can't find the exact stain. If I could, I'd work just on that. I'm gonna have to vacuum, shampoo these carpets. That came out pretty good, washing it. I shouldn't have washed it in my own house. I should have taken it to laundromat because it took a couple of loads of crappy sheets to get the smell out of the washer and dryer. Stupid. But yeah, you guys know the type of thing that I'm talking about there, that type of a kit that's supposed to absorb all the odors. I already checked it out. It appeared to work, you know, reasonably well. To the, you know, just to the quick nose test. I re-soaked the sponge, put it in there again, let it sit, you know, probably just for another 24 hours, and I'll take it out. And yeah, we will report the results. Cool. All right, so, well, round two of the de-smellification. I've done the Febreze a couple of times. I've had good luck with this. I had an old Ranger that I bought used that was owned by a smoker. I just doused it. I used an entire bottle of Febreze on it. I left it open on a nice sunny day like today, you know, for 9 or 10 hours. And honestly, that really did the trick. This stuff is supposed to attach itself to the odor molecules, you know, molecular level, blah, 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 blah. Hasn't really done the trick here for the Cobra. I also did this. I talked about that. I didn't show it. I put the trash bags over it, made like a tonneau cover, and I used this deal. It's supposed to absorb all the odors, and that seemed to work reasonably well, but they came back. So what we got going on now is, I don't know if you can hear it, I have the Ozone Machine going in there, and it's on a 2-hour timer. Those things are super dangerous. They turn O2 oxygen into O3. They break down the oxygen molecules, turn it into something else, blah, you know, blah, blah. Sorry with all the, I'm doing all the blah, blah, blahing. And, you know, break down, you know, the odor molecules that are stuck to the oxygen, how you smell them. I've done a couple of rounds with it already. It didn't really seem to work very well. I think that the only thing, anyway, dangerous, use them only outdoors in a well-ventilated space. Probably why it didn't work so great is because obviously I had to do the trash bag deal, if you use it in a, in a regular car interior that you can close up, probably work better. I did notice the seat belts are still a little damp from the Febreze treatment there. We are outside. We're in a well ventilated area. That ozone generator is about to kick off. The 2 hours should be up here. And what I'm going to do is, I kind of resigned myself. Yeah, I open it and I can still smell, it smells like Febreze and cat pee. But there you can see the ozone generator, and it's almost like a taser. It generates like a purple light here. Let's holding my breath. I don't know if you can see that. It makes it smell like a hospital, really. So, zapping the air molecules, it's pulling in, from the back and blowing out the front after it's, hospitals use these in their air purifiers. Anyway, what I really need to do, the interior needs to be detailed. I need to pull out the seats. I need to pull out the seat belts so they can be washed. Carpets can be shampooed, and time will work. I'm going to park the thing over here in the sun. Tomorrow is Sunday. Football season starts, in full swing tomorrow. I watch football, so I don't really work on cars so much. That's just what it's going to take. It's just going to take, sitting in the sun and a proper tearing apart the interior and cleaning everything by hand. That's just what it's going to take. All right? Cool. So these are the AC pedals. You see they're meant to be mounted with a pin on a hinge. That was for a floor mounted pedal, really. And a lot of guys will do that. They'll weld something to their regular brake pedals. What I did with the last car was I drilled holes in these. And what I'll do is I'm going to grind this off so it makes just a nice flat pedal cover. I'll trace the back of the Mustang pedal, hold it up, and I'll trace the back as best I can. And I'm going to have to drill holes in this, countersunk holes. It's a pedal. It'll look nice. It will have the extra screw holes in there. Maybe it's a tiny little bit of a hack versus, cutting the pedal off and welding a hinge. But for a top hung pedal like that, I don't really want a hinge. And, I will mount this up as high as I can on the pedal, so it really won't, it'll only add, maybe an inch or so in length to the bottom there. These look a lot better when they're dirty, honestly, because you get the dirt inside there, and but your foot wears off the AC and all of the high spots there. Looks a lot better. So that is my plan for pedals. I'll Dremel those off, drill a couple holes out there, drill some countersunk holes in here, and yeah, Bob's your uncle. We'll see. All right, so like I mentioned, the first project, those pedals are done. Just like I said over on the workbench, what I did was I cut the tabs off the back of the AC pedals. I used a Dremel. My grinder would have been, an angle grinder would have been better. I didn't have I had a small blade on there, it was worn down to nothing. I didn't feel like putting another blade on, so I suffered with the Dremel. And then after I cut the little nubs off, I put them, and I used a bench grinder. I held on with vice grips and used a bench grinder just to grind them flush. And you can see, sorry, that's a little washed out there. There we go. I drilled through them and countersunk holes for those screws, those machine screws, the hex head machine screws. Not exactly, they're meant, to pivot, but on a top mount, you don't need the pivot. On a floor mount, you need the pivot. And there you can see the gas pedal, and that, is so much better than that lever. So much better. I did have to put a spacer on the bottom just to make the pedal a little more level up and down instead of kicking way back towards the firewall there. But, I'm sorry that I didn't show you more in depth. It was really hard, to get, even just to get in here to do the work. It's so tight. It's such tight quarters. The car is so low. I will insert a picture of my elbows, which
the carpet did a number there on my elbows. I'll insert a picture here. Anyway, so you saw the before and the after. So what we have next we're going to do the shifter. Not really cosmetic upgrades, but really the stuff that you touch. So the shifter will be next, and then we're going to tackle the emblems. We're just going to install one here. We're going to move these that are in the wrong place, hopefully. And I'm not sure these are right. They look a little, this powered by looks a little funky. I'll compare them to the known good emblems that I have and see. I may use the emblems that I have and hence keep these. I'm not sure. They look a little funky to me, but they definitely need to move up, you know, a solid 3/4 of an inch. And we'll put the proper emblem here on the nose. This tiny little toy emblem here, whatever, you know, I don't even know what that's for. That little, it's so thin as well. It's not like a regular emblem. So, but I'll take you along for the ride with the next little small projects. Enjoy my shadow. Cool. All right, my friends. So the last of the small projects for this video is we're going to replace that shifter with one that's more vintage, more period correct, more appropriate for a Cobra. You see over there, we got the nice, really nice Scott Drake reproduction knob with a 5-speed logo on it. And that's like an escutcheon plate, like a little set screw, a set, whatever you want to call it, on the bottom there, so you can make the knob face the right way. You'll see we have the reproduction Galaxy Mustang shift lever with the fake reverse lockouts. It's going to look 1,000 times better than the Factory 5. And now I've come to like the Factory 5 shift lever. It's a good simplistic design, and I guess I can kind of see now why people leave them on there, but it has to be period correct for me. It has to look like it was made in 65, 66. So we're going to take off the 4 screws. We're going to undo the knob there, remove the boot, and really it's just those 2 bolts. This is made, this particular shifter is made to, you know, to mount to a T5 or a TKO or a T56, and it's really just that simple. So hang on. All right, well, I say this frequently on the channel. Nothing's easy when you're customizing. You saw there through the time lapse that for whatever reason, this little escutcheon, this jam nut, and the shift knob would not thread. And I mean, this is 1/2 inch 20 threads. I got out a gauge and I checked it. I checked that, and it was supposed to be, I mean, it really looked sort of like 1/2 inch 20 with a little gauge, but I had to run a tap through the jam nut escutcheon and the knob itself, and clean them up and release, you know, a good amount of material. Those are Scott Drake parts. This is some kind of, I don't even remember the name on it, cow pony, you know, pony, I don't even know the brand name of the arm. It's a nice piece, but I expected, I'm like, you saw me in frustration. I was, you know, I'm thinking, what do I got to do? Do I got to get a new knob? Do I got to get a new arm? But just clean up the threads and spun them on. So I put a little Loctite on there just to be sure. And so the escutcheon plate, as tightly as it goes on, and then the knob as tightly as it will go on, they put your numbers, it's pretty nice and even. If you'll notice, this is cocked off to this side. You know, you want it to be nice and even with the car here like this. It really won't go that far. I could, you know, loosen the whole thing just to get it just right, but to me, it goes on this plane perfectly, and it's probably how they were designed to do it. So it's not the other, you know, the Factory 5 one shifters, you know, was much lower, much more down here. I think this actually feels more natural to me. I'll give it a drive and see. At one point I'm walking back out to the car here and it's slowly rolling. If you remember, the emergency brake is broken, and I moved this to the center here to neutral for the installation. I don't think it would have gone very far. It would have gone, there's a big dip there before it gets to the garage, and I don't think it would have gone in. There's a little sticky gummy residue here that I have to remove. But, you know, let's take this. Anyways, yeah, so we'll remove a little bit of residue there and we'll call it good. Like I said, when you're customizing, nothing's easy. Something like this that you think is just going to be bing, bang, boom, you know, 4 screws, couple of bolts, thread this right on. And, you know, I'm an hour into this project. So, all right, my friends, thanks for watching. Truly appreciate your support. I hope you find this new series here with the Factory 5 Racing Mark II Cobra. I hope you find it interesting. If you're new to the channel, please give me a sub. Lots of interesting stuff on there. Give me a like. Helps the channel quite a bit. Give me that thumbs up. Hit me up in the comments. I respond to all comments still. All right, my friends. Again, thanks.